me a 2. Give me a 1. And we are live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Strictly Casual, your unoriginal podcast from unprofessional college students. Today is Friday, May 29th. I'm Vincent DeSantis.
And I'm James Walmer.
And welcome back, everybody. Today we have 10 interesting items on the report today, and also this is take 2 because I forgot to record. We got 20 minutes in and we've just figured out. So here we are. We're just doing this again. We got this. 10 items today. We're going over The Last of Us 2 State of Play. We got a lot of next gen news going on. What else? Oh, some more game announcement type dealios like GameSpot and IGN. A lot of fun stuff. A lot of exciting news that's going to reveal more news in the future, which is awesome.
Yes.
How's your week been, James?
Foreshadowing. Good week.
Good week.
Started Dark Souls 3 with my boys. Rage quit about 3 times.
Yeah.
Almost threw my controller.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little rough, but I think that was it. That was the big game that I was playing this week.
Good.
Maybe jumped into COD a few times, but you know. I've been slacking the COD grind. The season ends real soon, and I'm kind of like, I don't even think I hit Battle Pass 50.
Yeah. I wish it kept going because I'd probably be at like 150. It's so sad, dude. I spent way too much time in that.
Dang.
God.
I respect the hell out of you for it.
I'm just having so much fun with it. I can't stop.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, I've been playing COD and then a lot more Uncharted 3, which has been super fun.
Streaming it?
Streaming Uncharted 3, streaming COD. Your boy is an affiliate now.
Big streamer.
Twitch affiliate, baby. It's
Go sub.
been like a year in the making, and I am so excited.
Wow.
Um,
Wait, if I use my Amazon subscription
Yes.
on you, do you still get money for that?
I believe so. It'd be like
All
cents
right.
on the dollar, but I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be. We should try that out. We should see.
We will.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing this week.
Cool.
Let's get into it. So The Last of
Let's
Us
get into it, baby.
2 State of Play was 2 days ago. Yesterday?
2 days ago.
2 days ago.
I think.
And James and I both watched it separately and wrote notes on it. So I think I'll go for my notes, and then James, you can go for your notes. We'll just kind of go over it. Basically, this State of Play was dedicated completely to Last of Us 2. There wasn't anything else. It was broken up into 3 sections. It started with like a re-edit of the Last of Us 2 trailers that have come out so far. And then Neil Druckmann narrates like the details about the game, some things that we haven't really learned yet. And then it ended with like a 13 minute gameplay sequence. And
Not spoilery at all.
Not spoilery, which is so great because I was very worried about it being spoilery. So yeah, it started with the re-edit of the trailers, which was perfect because I feel like I've seen enough of this game to want to play it. And I didn't really want anything more, like spoiler-wise. And so they really just wrapped it up with a nice bow, pretty much, all the trailers. It's a nice, it's a long one too, probably like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was perfect for me. And then we get to Neil Druckmann narrating things about The Last of Us 2. He says most of the game takes place in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest.
Gang.
Gang for James, which is hecka cool. The last big Seattle game I played was probably Infamous Second Son.
Infamous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a damn good game. Love it.
It's a damn good game.
So there's large environments in the game, and there will be horseback riding. And the horseback riding looks awesome. It looks beautiful. I was telling James in the last take we just did of the podcast, I was gushing about Ellie riding on the horse into Seattle, and there's like these green hills, but then Seattle's all gross and like grown over and stuff, and it looked so good. Like Ellie's hair was like waving every time the horse trotted and the grass is moving. It's ridiculous. So all the environments will have full seasonal shifts over the course of the game. They showed snow, rain, hotter environments, forest, all sorts of stuff. It looks pretty diverse in the environments.
Yeah.
It says you'll be surviving against militia groups and the infected. So in this game, there's 2 militia groups. There's a religious, like, cult militia group. And then what was the other one called? Or what was the other one?
It's called the Washington Liberation Front, and the religious cult is called the Seraphites or the Scars.
There you go, yeah.
Which is due to them scarring themselves for religious cult reasons.
Yeah.
And the other faction is the Washington Liberation Front, which is more of like just the military martial law sort of highly trained and well equipped.
Got it.
Military faction.
So those will be different kinds of gameplay too, right? That's what they said?
Yeah, 2 different types of gameplay scenarios, because the Scars or the Seraphites are more stealthy.
Okay.
And then the Washington Liberation Front is very like headstrong, very like big guns, big
Yeah.
like in your face.
Okay. Sweet. That'll be fun. That'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Gameplay
variety, baby.
I wrote that this game is very fluid compared to the first game. You're able to vault and jump on stuff, climb up things. There's full traversal now. Well, not full traversal. I would say that there's areas where you can go. You can enter buildings from separate directions now. It's not like you have to go through these doors. There's different positionings you can get into before you start encounters, which in The Last of Us 1 you did not really have. So I think that's going to be super interesting for the gameplay, especially with the infected. And then I wrote Ellie can swim with 3 exclamation marks. Because in the first game, do you remember with Joel, you had to put Ellie like on a wooden pallet and then like swim to another side, and it was so annoying. Mm-hmm. That was the worst. And then I wrote Vida, because at one point Ellie swims, gets out of the lake or whatever, and there's this Scar, one of the militia faction chicks.
I think it was Washington Liberation Front.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's where that area was.
Dang. Well, anyways, she was playing a Vida, and I was like, I feel like that would have been something that should have been kept as a fun thing for the final game and not shown here, but which makes me suspect there's going to be more things like that.
Mm-hmm. She was playing Hotline Miami.
Was she really?
It was Hotline Miami.
Oh, music. I love it. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. I already talked about the traversal, and then, okay, at the end of the gameplay, Ellie busts into this room, and there's this girl that she calls Nora, and I did not hear that her name was Nora when I first watched it, so I thought it was like an older version of The Last of Us Left Behind, like that DLC girl, but it's not. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong on that one, and I don't know.
Is it someone from the end of the first game?
I'm trying to think where, like...
Is there a Nora...
It's worth looking up because I literally have no idea. I tried to do some research, but I couldn't find anything on it. Like anything that would make sense.
Hold on. Here's this article that says, Last of Us 2, who is Nora? State of Play broadcast ends in mystery. But its cliffhanger ending has also resulted in fans asking who the bloody hell is Nora. Regardless of who she is, her appearance lends credence to the belief that the huge spoilers didn't leak the entire game's plot, as not once was a Nora ever mentioned before yesterday's showcase. Completely new character.
That's nice to know.
We have no idea what's going on with Nora.
Okay.
Moving on to my notes.
Yeah, James,
any other thoughts, Finn?
No, yours are much more detailed, so this is good.
Do you do yours live?
Yeah, I just did this live real quick. But I was also pretty infatuated with what was happening, so I kind of went skimpy.
It's okay. Totally okay. Okay, so starting right off the bat, as Vinny touched on, the story spans every season. And so in Washington, that means pretty much rain, gray sky, and sun. And you mean that also means you get a lot of colors. I'm hoping that, so a big part of Seattle, I live like an hour away from Seattle, so I was actually in Seattle yesterday. Yeah. A big part of the University of Washington campus in Seattle is they're cherry blossoms.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that maybe sometime in the game in the spring we have a scene of Ellie like walking through cherry blossoms in an overgrown University of Washington, maybe.
That'd be very cool.
Which might be very cool, but I just love cherry blossoms. All caps, I have Seattle, baby, represent. There's new traversal mechanics that they introduced. One of the big things is ropes. You can use those to swing around the map from place to place, and you can use it. You can just simply drop them down to get to and from elevated ground, like you see here on an overpass, and she's dropping it from the top of an overpass down below so she can get back and forth between the overpass very efficiently. There is boats that you see Ellie cranking the motor of just like a pontoon boat, and she's going around some of the swampy area around Seattle.
Wait, did it show her driving the boat, or was it just cinematic?
It did show her driving the boat.
Cool.
She was driving the boat around. There are two warring factions that we touched on earlier: the Washington Liberation Front and the Seraphites, or the Scars. There are four types of infected that they touched on. There's the recently infected runners, who are more of like the newer infected, and they're faster and agile. There's the clickers, which we know about already. God. The stalkers. Do you remember if the stalkers were in the first game?
I don't remember. When I think of the infected from the first game, the clickers are that's the only thing I think about. So I don't really know.
So they had stalkers too, which are just quiet and like very jump scary.
Yeah.
There's also new stages of infected, which they revealed one, which is the Shambler, or as what I call the Cloudy Boys, that are like big and thicky, and they get up in your face and then they release like poison gas, which I feel like I remember in the first game.
Something like that, yeah.
They at least, yeah. So I'm like, wait, is this new?
Well, actually, what I think is in the first game there was these spores like on the walls or whatever, and there's one point where you have to shoot the spores, but there was gas everywhere, and it was very similar looking to the gas that those things let out.
Got it.
So that could have
been. They showed footage of like a huge infected, like who was like jacked, like really big boy, like really tanky. They didn't name him or describe him at all, but you do see it in a little like 4-second clip, right? It's him like swinging something around, and I was like, I don't want to fight this guy.
Me neither, bro.
There are further emphases on stealth, with the use of tall grass.
They also, right before they stopped talking about the infected, they cut to a black screen and they said there's more like we haven't told you about that we want you to experience in game. And then there was this deep growl, like yell from a zombie or whatever, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds scary as hell. Okay, sorry, that's all.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I thought that might have been the tanky dude that we saw from earlier.
It could be.
But I could be wrong. So there's tall grass for stealth. They emphasize like, oh, it's not going to be like once you're in the grass, no one can see you. Like if they get too close, they'll still notice you. They made a point to say that running is always a viable option, that you are not like forced into some of these encounters, and at the very least, running away. You can run away to reestablish stealth.
Which is really cool.
It is very cool. So it's not like, oh, once you've already been like detected or whatever, then like you have to go gun blazing the entire way. You can go back and you can resituate and reassess the situation. In an effort to, if you want to create more diversity in the ways you approach situations, you can break glass and crawl through tight spaces to get in and out of buildings from different angles and to take on different strategies. Ellie's more agile than her enemies and can dodge and counterattack much better than they can. So Neil Druckmann made a point about how players will spend a lot of time timing perfect dodges so that they can really be effective in that close quarters combat. Use throwables for stuns. Same case as in the first game with like picking up bricks and bottles and random stuff like that. He made a point about aiming, like a well-placed throw will grant a stun, so that might be more of an emphasis. I'm thinking like maybe if you throw one to the knee, that might cause him to like fall over.
Okay.
Right, or something like that, or straight to the face would cause a hard stun.
Real about that, so in the first game, there was like a little circle that would just snap onto someone when you were in range to throw that thing. And then you just, tap it and throw it. And this one looked like it had a very similar thing. So, I'm hoping that they kind of get rid of that and you can just throw it. Like, aim it. But
yeah,
that's something like I don't really know.
I'm hoping it's like a circle that kind of aims on the person, but you can still like move it and it kind of like sticks to them, if that makes sense.
Yep, totally makes sense.
Excuse me.
Like maybe a headshot, chest shot, or leg shot, you can kind of like bring the stick down and change that or something.
Exactly. And I think it showed that Ellie could like shoot someone like in the leg for a non-lethal blow and then like go in for a melee attack.
Also,
and it affects them anatomically correctly.
Yeah. This was brutal. Everything about this gameplay demo was like brutal.
Oh, yeah, I have to, before I go into more like gameplay mechanics, there is a part where Ellie climbs up a ladder, throws a Molotov on some random dude and their dog, and you hear the dog whimper and literally like sad. Cry. And I'm glad that the developer who is playing this game turned away, because I would not have been able to handle watching that dog die.
No. It's a lot. There was a lot of screams coming through the TV in my room when I had the speakers up, and not from me, from the game. But almost from me when the dog died.
Yeah.
But it's very, like, they're not shying away, dude. She's shanking dudes left and right. Neck.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she uses her little
There's no mercy.
thing, or her butterfly knife. Love it. I love that. It's on her leg, and she like pulls it out and then swings it out and stabs and then swings it back and puts it back on her leg, like almost as if you were unsheathing a revolver from Red Dead, which was so sick.
Oh, that's sweet. I like that comparison. But there is still melee weapon degradation.
Yep. Which I'm actually okay with.
I'm okay with too. I think it keeps it fresh.
Yeah, the game is scary because you never have enough weapons to get through an encounter. That helps the game be more scary. So.
Allies will meaningfully help you in combat encounters, so they will actually like kill people and like hit people, do whatever. Like it shows.
Like Sully in Uncharted 4. That was a big thing.
Yes. Yeah. You can find ways to pit multiple types of enemies against each other, like they show where Ellie is in this dark sewage tunnel, and there's like these guys who come in with like flares, and then in a adjacent room there's a bunch of clickers, so Ellie like throws a bottle toward the group of one of the factions, and the noise draws the clickers, and they like kill most of them for her. So there are more solutions to a situation than just going in and killing everyone yourself.
Yep.
There are new weapon and player upgrades. There's crafting items through training manuals, which you will find throughout the world. But they're still continuing the on-the-fly crafting system that was in the first game. You see it for smoke bombs. You see it for like suppressors, and you see it for like a few for Molotovs. There's a new workbench system.
Well, actually, also
in which
in the crafting. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. My bad.
No, you're fine.
But in the backpack and menu stuff, it looks like you can hold way more weapons and way more craftable things. Like
that might be an upgrade.
Yeah, it's probably an upgrade. But in Last of Us, even with it fully upgraded, you could only have like 2 guns and a bow and arrow, and then like maybe 2 craftables. And it looks like there was like she was scrolling through stuff, so That could be really nice if I'm able to craft stuff before an encounter, not only on the fly, like plan for something. Because earlier you can't really plan because you can't hold anything.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
In the new workbench system, they noted that you just use things that you find throughout the world to create modifications, or you can find modifications throughout the world, and every modification that you put on a weapon is fully visualized, so that she shows like, oh, she has a scope for a hunting rifle, so you see her like slide the scope on the hunting rifle and mount it herself, and then throughout the rest of the gameplay you see that on her hunting rifle.
And show her zoom in on it and everything. It looks sick.
Yeah, looks very good. Very, very good. Any other thoughts, Finn?
That's all on Last of Us 2 that I have.
All right.
I'm very excited.
That's all I have
so
too.
Freaking excited.
Very excited.
Okay. Now, James.
Now, Vin.
Yesterday, I wrote out an article. That was an article speculating when the next PS5 event will be. But that article is completely in the trash now. Because instead of speculating, James, we have something much better. This is
much better, Ben.
Breaking news that broke like 2 hours before we started recording. So, early this morning, PlayStation tweeted, "Join us Thursday, June 4th at 1 p.m. Pacific time for a look at the future of gaming on PlayStation 5. Oh, baby, I was stoked. So underneath that tweet,
what'd they show?
Underneath that tweet was a little 6-second video that gives us like a look at the black, or you think it's dark blue?
I think it's a navy blue.
Okay, I would say
it's just what it looked like with the lighting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the lighting is weird. So it might be navy blue, might be black, but a different color of the DualShock or DualSense 5 nonetheless. So thus confirming also, okay, actually, let's talk about this. Do you think that there's going to be different colors at launch? Like that either you can buy a black PS5 or a white PS5 maybe, or like some sort of combination of that. That doesn't really make sense manufacturing wise, but they're showing off a black controller right off the bat.
I think they will have extra colors of controllers off the bat to purchase, but I don't think they will sell multiple variations of color with the initial console bundle itself.
You think the white is going to be the standard?
Yes, but that also depends. Okay, so I think it will be the controller color that reflects the color scheme of the console.
Agreed. Yeah. Dude, do you think? Oh,
so
crap,
if it is a white, if the PS5 has white aspects or accents, then the one with the white, the controller with the white, is going to be the one that's bundled with the console.
So this 6-second video was coupled with a very sexy synth that was very PlayStation. It was just a long, drawn-out synth, but it kind of sounded like the boot, like the startup boot. Although I don't think that will be the startup boot. I believe it'll be different, but that's just what it was similar to. And then Jason Schreier tweeted about this event. He says, in quotes, "This will be a good one." And then he has another tweet that says, "I'd expect both first and third-party games at the PS5 event, and I definitely wouldn't expect every single detail on the machine. I doubt they'll mention the price yet. Funny that the company that pulled out of E3 is now the one holding a big game reveal conference in early June." So,
yeah.
Someone else tweeted that they think this is going to be a series of videos, and I'm sure this won't be the last PS5 reveal thing. So it makes sense that we're going to get games, but who knows if we'll actually see the console itself yet. I'd love to see the console at this event.
I would also love to see the console. And I don't know if we'll get the whole console overview, but I know we will. Well, I don't know anything. I'm hoping that we do get at least a screenshot, or like the Xbox Series X, to where hold on. Okay, so it looks like Summer Games Fest tweeted out, "See you next Thursday," that was in quote of the PlayStation.
So they're probably hosting it.
They're probably either hosting it or conducting a dev interview after the fact or something like that.
Because Sony
things that
likes
we'll
to
cover.
end things on a bang. Like they'll go
do.
through they'll go through their boring ass conference, or it actually won't be boring. It's PS5, but they'll go through a conference doing games and stuff. And won't even mention the PS5 except for these game trailers. And then at the very end, they'll have like a couple seconds of something. That's my guess. And then that'll tide us over on speculation till the next event.
And it's also worth noting that they have also confirmed that it is still launching this holiday and will be a global launch.
Yeah, God bless.
Right, so that is
PS5 delays.
No region restrictions for any countries who will not be able to get their hands on a PlayStation 5.
Which is so good.
It is very good. All right, Vin, any more thoughts? I'm excited. You're excited.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Great.
I said there.
Well, if that wasn't enough to be excited about, we also have a new patent for the DualSense, in which PlayStation has patented a wireless charger for the DualSense. This comes from Gaming Route, and the patent reads, quote, a wireless charging adapter that can snap onto a computer game controller can be inductively coupled to a charging base to wirelessly recharge a battery in the controller. The adapter can also include keys. Note, the word keys in this quote means buttons. So the adapter can also include keys or buttons that mirror buttons on the controller, so that a gamer can remove the adapter with the controller from the charging base, keep the adapter on the controller, and use both the controller keys and adapter keys to control a video game. So what this means is, obviously we have wireless charging, but we have that it says similar to keys on the back of the controller, which has been speculated that it would have buttons on the back of the controller, that the wireless charger adapter would also have these same keys, so they do not obstruct or prevent the use of those buttons on the back of the controller. And these buttons, the patent indicates that they're X and O buttons. I don't know if those are just placeholders or whether I assume maybe they'd be programmable.
I hope they're programmable. I hope that the X and the O that they show on there are just so that you can tell that the patent looks like it has buttons like the controller has.
Right. The patent also declares that the controller will have a rechargeable battery that is also wirelessly rechargeable. So I think then what we were talking about earlier, so that means it sounds like there's a rechargeable battery in the controller that is also wirelessly rechargeable. So my speculation is this like an extended battery pack, and it is okay.
Here's my
What are you
vibe.
picking up? What are you sniffing out, Vin?
All right, you have your dual. Okay, I'm gonna pull out a controller just for visual representation here.
I have my DualSense.
Yeah,
Vin, can you put this patent up on the screen in post-production?
I can. Yes, I'll put it up on the screen. So basically, the patent shows a pretty much a DualSense. Sorry. And on the back here, has two clips that reach over, and it's a black middle thing right here. I don't know black. I don't know. That was just a guess. Okay. It's like a square.
It's just like two struts. Yeah.
Now right here, there's two programmable little circle buttons that don't really look in a good space, like a good spot for me. But we'll see when we get there.
So that's like where your middle fingers rest.
Oh yeah,
hold your
controller
control
with your middle fingers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, two buttons there. Now this thing's kind of beefy, which automatically turns me off of it. I don't want an extra beefy thing on my already kind of beefy controller. But
remember, they did say this would be a lighter controller.
That's good, I guess. Well, I guess we'll have to see. But so there's a little thing here, and it looks like it's mountable onto something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I
well,
hope
I was
that
thinking
charges that mountable thing, I hope charges the controller while it's on there, and then when you take it off, that pack that stays on there is also chargeable.
So then, I think, you see Figure 5 on the dock?
See Figure 5, yeah.
I think that is the side view of what you see. Yeah. Okay, so the middle part sticks out. Right. Look at that, because that little square on the right side, that's the PlayStation logo, right? And so it sticks out. So you're just gonna put that on the wireless charging pad.
Yeah. Right. That could be nice. But why not?
Sorry.
Why not? This is so much better. Have the DualSense already wirelessly chargeable without that. Why can't I just place that on a wireless charging thing that I use for my phone, or maybe a wireless charging thing that you can buy from PlayStation? You just place it right on there. Or maybe it's like an upside down, a little slot that you drop it into or something, you know?
Right.
Why do I have to have this beefy thing?
Here's my thing. Yeah. It says that the DualSense controller will have a rechargeable battery and you can charge it wirelessly too. So I'm thinking, is this just an extension battery pack to allow more playtime on your controller than you would normally?
Right.
Because
and that would be nice as well.
A common trade-off for USB-C is that though it charges quickly, it doesn't hold a charge as well as another micro USB.
That would just be the battery inside of it, right? So hopefully the batteries inside of it is going to be better than these guys, because these PlayStation batteries suck on these controllers.
Well, I'm saying, what if this is just a counteract? If you want more game time out of your controller, you just have this beefy battery pack.
Yeah. Then that's fine.
That I get you can see.
The sleek sexiness of the controller goes away with this thing. Unless it looks good or matches.
A little bit.
I don't know.
It is just a patent. So, and patents rarely look as good as the final product.
Do you know what this reminds me of also? Like an Xbox 360 controller with a fat battery pack on the back of it that you have to unclip and slap a couple AA's in there.
I remember that. You felt like you were loading up shotgun cartridges.
Yeah. And you had to do it every damn day because those batteries died so quick on those controllers.
Yeah, I remember those.
That's all I got on the patent, bro. It's not really clear to me what, if it's an extra charger as well as a wireless charger. It has to be.
This is also the only mention I've heard of this wireless charger.
Yeah.
So I don't know how reliable it is.
And PlayStation or Sony does so many patents. You heard about the robot patent they did, your buddy, you hook up to your PlayStation and talks to you while you play games and stuff. Just weird as hell. They patent literally everything. Just in case. So who knows if this will even see the light of day.
I'm seeing a lot of other people are using the same patent. A wireless charging adapter that can snap onto a computer game controller and inductively coupled to a charging base to wirelessly recharge a battery in the controller. Yeah.
That's the same thing we just read.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. We'll see.
Yep.
We will see. All right.
I can put that graphic up for sure.
Yeah, put that graphic up. New PS4 games must also run on PlayStation 5 from July. So, Sony tells devs essentially that they have until the 13th of July to put in a patch or an update to make their game compatible with PlayStation 5. Here's the thing, Vin, right off the bat, before I get into these notes that you wrote, and are good notes, my concern particularly is for those people who love Star Wars Battlefront 2 and the devs stopped working on that game and they actually put out the last update. So, but what could have happened is that this last update might have also prepped it for that.
Right, yeah.
But if they didn't already, I'm worried that it won't make it onto Battlefront 2 because a lot of my friends love to play Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Dude, Battlefront 2 on the PS5 would look so nice. It's already a great looking game.
Runs so well. Yeah. Oh my god, can you imagine?
Wow, that'd be really cool to play, actually.
Yeah, I know, it'd be cool. Sony has told PlayStation 4 game developers that any new titles submitted for certification must also be compatible with PlayStation 5 beginning 13th July. So, like, they need to submit for compatibility by the 13th of July. This means all PS4 games received by Sony for testing after the middle of that month are technically forward compatible or playable on Sony's next-gen console. So any game that comes out after July 13th is backwards compatible with PlayStation 5. Is that correct, Ben?
There's a couple exceptions underneath that note, but from what I'm seeing, yes. But also, just to preface this, if I was a dev on a game right now, I would not launch a game until the PS5 is launching, and I would launch it on both PS4 and PS5 after the PS5 is out. I would not. Let's say I'm a dev at a third-party studio, and I've been working on my game for years. I'm not going to release my game on the PS4 right now when there's only like a couple months till the PS5, and it's going to get forgotten about unless it's ported.
What are you doing, CD Projekt Red?
Exactly. Even if it's ported over, the game's forgotten about. It's you've had a couple months. I would launch that baby.
Well, remember, they still do have that audience. Right? Remember that PlayStation 5s are going to be in limited availability, and a lot of people won't make the switch right away.
That's why I'd launch it on
both.
Both.
Remember, you have that Christmas crowd that that's going to be their Christmas present. Granted, there's still units to sell for Christmas. Which honestly, I'm sure Sony will find a way to get it out before Christmas, because that's when they make a huge amount of their sales.
A butt ton of money.
Butt ton of money, absolutely. Though, sorry, to get back into it. Though this decision to be forward compatible is completely up to each game developer to ensure that this is the case. Developer documentation details an option where they must check to state their game that it has been tested for compatibility with PlayStation 5 hardware. So they must run and make sure and test compatibility with PlayStation 5 hardware before submitting this certification. Sony has told developers it will contact them individually with details on how exactly to do this in order of their various projects release.
Because I'm sure all the PS5 like dev kits and stuff, I'm sure there's not unlimited of them right now. So whether that be sending them a temporary one or the devs sending PlayStation it to test it, I don't really know how that works.
Sure. I'm sure they would make it. Sony's always good about developer interaction, and I'm sure they would find ways to do this very efficiently. A developer can't flag their game as PS5 compatible, but not provide support for a certain mode on next-gen hardware. So, basically, it has to. Does this mean they can't flag it unless it is fully supported on next-gen hardware?
From my understanding, that's what that means. It's like you can't port. I know this is not a good example, but like you can't port Modern Warfare if you can't play the campaign. That's like that. You know what I mean? If you can only play multiplayer on next gen, then it's not considered PS5 compatible. Like you can play it, but it's not considered. It's not on the list.
I see.
But that was a bad example because I'm sure that Modern Warfare is such a hit. I'm sure that's going to be playable on PS5.
Right. I'm trying to think of another example, but I just can't. If a game was originally submitted to Sony before the 13th of July 2020, any new patch or remaster after that date would not require PS5 compatibility, but it would be strongly recommended, in quotes. That's probably for... I don't know. Why do you think that would be?
I guess it's... I don't really know. If the game's already out and it's just a patch afterwards... Hold on. I'm going to read this again. Okay. If a game was originally submitted to Sony before July 13th,
Right. So they put in they put in the certification request before 13th of July 2020.
Oh, perfect. No, this is fine. It just means that if you patch a game after it's already considered PS5 compatible, you don't have to reapply for PS5 compatibility. But you should check it. You should check the patch because it's safer that way. But you don't have to.
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
It's just one less step for the devs to do, I think. That's what I'm reading.
Cool. And then finally, if a game was originally submitted to Sony after 13th of July 2020, any future patch or remaster to that game would need to keep PS5 compatibility. So it's not like they can release a game or a patch that would not make it PS5 compatible after that date. Once a game is PS5 compatible, it must say so. Yep. So there's you can't go back and be like, oh, wait, we're not going to make this PS5 compatible. That's the final deadline. Right. Which I don't understand why a developer would want that.
Right, yeah, me neither. But
that does make it easier for Sony.
Sony is going to want a fat list of every single game you could play on PS5, and they're going to release that, and people are going to be stoked, right? Because there's going to be those obscure titles that I don't even know about, that there's a diehard fan base for, that are like, oh shit, I cannot wait to play that on PS5. Even though, I might not care about the game at all. And they're going to have that, Sony's going to have that long-ass list, and there's going to be a lot of those people that find their game on there that are going to be so excited. So yeah, good stuff.
Persona 5, I'm calling it.
You think so? Probably.
I think so.
I don't see why not. Yeah, they just released Persona 5 Royale, dude. They'll for sure put that on PS5.
Exactly.
But enough PS5 news for today. Actually, there's a little more later on. But we're going to shift gears a little bit to the Xbox Series X with some new information on it. Cool. So the Series X adds 4K HDR and better frame rates to backwards compatible games. Now, we knew that they were trying this, and we know PlayStation was trying this too with backwards compatibility games. But this is confirmed now. So, Jason Ronald, Director of Program Management for the Xbox Series X, explained that not only will players have access to over 1,000 older games at launch, but they'll also experience substantially better performance when playing them too. Ronald stated, with more than 100,000 hours of playtesting already completed, thousands of games are already playable on the Xbox Series X today, from the biggest blockbusters to cult classics and fan favorites. Many of us in Team Xbox play on the Xbox Series X daily as our primary console, and switching between generations is seamless. Not only should gamers be able to play all these games from the past, but they should play better than ever before. Backwards compatibility games run natively on the Xbox Series X hardware, running with the full power of the CPU, GPU, and SSD. No boost mode, no downclocking, the full power of the Xbox Series X for each and every backwards compatible game. Wow. That's no punches pulled in those statements.
No punches pulled.
I got a couple more. In partnership with the Xbox Advanced Technology Group, Series X delivers a new innovative HDR reconstruction technique which enables the platform to automatically add HDR to support to games. As this technique is handled by the platform itself, it allows us to enable HDR with zero impact to the game's performance. And we can also apply it to Xbox 360 and original Xbox titles developed almost 20 years ago, well before the existence of HDR. Jim,
that's impressive.
You're telling me these guys are writing a program that is going to add HDR automatically to games that are like 30 years old, 25 years old?
Yeah, like Halo 2. Well, It says almost 20 years ago, so that means that doesn't necessarily mean past 20 years, or even 20 years. Sure. So that would be like anything before 2000, right? Which is reasonable because the Xbox is started their prime was early 2000s.
Yeah.
Right. When did the Xbox even come out?
I'm not sure, but I'm sure this guy. Jason Ronald has an example.
Came out in 2001, right, so it doesn't. Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
He has an example in his mind of a game that is playing from 2001 on the Xbox Series X with HDR. That's why he's saying almost 20 years ago.
It's probably like Halo 2 or something.
Yeah, it's got to be a big one. Okay, and the compatibility team has invented brand new techniques that enable even more titles to run at higher resolutions and image quality while still respecting the artistic intent and vision of the original creators. We are also creating whole new classics. Oh god. We are also creating whole new classes of innovations, including the ability to double the frame rate of select titles from 30 FPS to 60 FPS, or 60 FPS to 120 FPS.
120 frames per second. That's very impressive. These are great numbers,
Here's what
Xbox.
I think that's for. On these older games, you can run those in high FPSs now. Like,
yes.
Easy. So I'm assuming if
because they're easy to run.
Yeah, exactly. They can you don't have to use the whole all the graphics, you know what I mean? You're instead using those to boost the frames because you're still seeing the game at full quality.
It's just like a PC would work.
Exactly. So that is super exciting. That Xbox just can come out and say this on a Tuesday afternoon, you know? Like they didn't even need a big event, which is telling me they have more big things to announce. The competition, James, is tough this year.
It's tough.
But I love to see that because that's going to make each side better. That's what good competition does.
It's healthy.
Yep.
No one does not benefit from competition.
Right. Oh, it's going to be so good, dude. I really hope PS5 can compete with some of this. I really do.
I think they'll be able to do, especially with some of the stuff that we've been hearing about their SSD.
Yeah. The only sad, I want PlayStation to just come out and defy all the rumors and say, you can play your PS3 games, you can play your PS2 games. I really want them to say that, and it's not looking like it. So Xbox saying that you can play original Xbox games it's pretty nice.
Yeah, so the only way that I think they would be able to effectively do that, Xbox has a leg up on this because they have Xbox Game Pass, in which they've already been releasing old Xbox games through. Right? And so the only medium that Sony has to do that in a digital library is PlayStation Now. Which only has, last time I checked, only about 2.2 million?
Yeah. So it's like less than a
subscribers. Less than a
%
percent of the total PlayStation user base. And so I think that if they're going to do that, they need to revamp the entirety of PlayStation Now. That's what I want to see. I want to see it become more of an Xbox Game Pass sort of thing to compete with that, because I just think that would be the smart thing to do.
Right.
But I understand if Sony doesn't want to just feel like they're following the competition. Sony's always been more of like we're going like a separate direction as Xbox, and they want to differentiate themselves from them and not just try and go back and forth and playing catch up to the other.
Yeah.
You see that in the specs, you see that in the way that the console runs.
Right.
Yeah.
I seriously am really hoping that it's more backwards compatible than just PS4. At the end of the day.
I don't think I really care.
Yeah. Overall, I don't.
Because I don't have a desire to play old games.
It's those random moments where I want to play old games that would be really nice to have it. But I don't see them supporting the discs. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you're right. You're really right. You bring up a great point. And Xbox isn't really necessarily saying that they're going to support the discs either. They're just saying you can play those old Xbox games. Because right now, on the Xbox One, or the whatever the hell Xbox they're on, Xbox One, you can put the disc in, but it downloads the game. So, like, you have to put the disc in to play it. For instance, I have a lot of friends that jump on Black Ops on their... they play their Xbox 360 version of Black Ops on their Xbox One.
Sure.
But it's not actually reading the disc. It's like a version that's downloaded, but it needs the disc to start the game.
I see.
So, I don't know.
Just like the normal... You play a disc game on a normal Xbox or... Xbox One or PS4.
Whereas like the PS2, it relied on the disc to play the game.
Right.
So that's a big difference too.
I can see them doing like a selling a bulk price, or two options. Either a bulk price and you get access to this, like, this is the Xbox, like, gold hits,
the
like,
library,
collection. Yeah, the Xbox original collection. And so you have this library of like 20, 30, even like maybe 50, 100 games in there. And you have one bulk price that is probably going to be inflated because it's nostalgic. Right? So let's say like you get $100, you pay $100 for like
30 games,
50 games or something, 30, 50, whatever. And you get full access as long as you pay that $100 or that one bulk price. Or they'll do separate subscriptions for it'll probably be tier based. So like you'd have, if you just want the whole original Xbox library, you can pay like $10 a month or $5 a month or whatever, and then you have access to the original. Or if you want the Xbox 360 library, you pay like another $5
to step up.
To step up.
So,
or if you want the whole shebang, it's like a slightly reduced price of like $7 a month.
Yeah. Now, do you think, because the Switch has the SNES and the NES games on there, so you're thinking similar to that, but instead of the subscription to Nintendo Online, it would be a subscription on top of Xbox Game Pass or Xbox's online service?
I think it would be plausible to put that with Xbox Game Pass, but I don't think they'd do it with Xbox Live.
Yeah, I think if they had those backwards compatibility games, dude, they could just put them in Game Pass and raise the price of Game Pass.
That's also what I was thinking. Like, instead of having, what is it, $15 a month for Game Pass, it would go up to $20.
I think it's cheaper than $15.
Is it cheaper?
Yeah.
Really?
Maybe it's $15 for Xbox and PC, but you can buy just PC or just Xbox for cheaper.
Okay, so you have like what, $7.49 or something like that for Game Pass, and then jump it up to like 10 or 12 for the price of getting access to the original titles.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool to
and maybe see. And here's the thing, I don't know if Microsoft would just put all of them out there, because Xbox Game Pass is a rotating sort of thing. They'd probably want to do it to try and make it as fresh as possible and give people, like, keep people invested in those old game libraries. So it'll be like, oh, for this month we have like Halo 2, and then like 2 months later they'll be like, all right, Halo 2 is leaving, so play it while it's still here. But we got like Red Dead Revolver or something like that.
Here's my quick thought on that though. The difference is when they take games out of Game Pass right now, you can go buy them at the store and keep playing it. But if a game leaves, if a backwards compatibility game leaves Xbox, there's literally no other way to play it. And I think that's going to be a problem that they run into too if they do it like that.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. All right.
That's all I got, man.
So, GameSpot announces Play for All. This is from Lucy James at GameSpot. Starting June 1st, GameSpot teams up with the biggest names to donate to COVID relief charities, all the while covering video game releases. Daily gaming live streams from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. That's starting next Monday, I believe. Weekly news updates about upcoming games, and multiple exclusives will be announced. Now, they had like a 6-minute video just to have those 4 points in there, so it was very inflated. But here's really, like, okay, yes, it's good to know. But here's where I'm falling on this right now. IGN already has their Summer of Gaming. There's already Summer Games Fest right now. And all of them are boasting that they have all these exclusives that they're going to announce, right? Ubisoft is having their own conference. Most of these some of the major ones are having their own conferences. Right now, my thoughts are we're spread very thin. People aren't going to remember to tune into every single company's thing. If I was any of these developers or companies, I would be going with Summer Game Fest and then having Summer Game Fest do like an event in association with IGN or in association with GameSpot and kind of split those up. Because, the average person is not going to remember Summer Game Fest, Summer of Gaming, and Play for All as 3 different things.
Right.
plus State of Play, Xbox's events. That's a lot of play and a lot of summer.
Right.
There's so many. I like what they're doing. I like that they're raising money for COVID and they're trying to get more gaming news out there. But it's like so much. There's like, which I can't complain. I can't complain that there's a lot of gaming news because I love that. I'm just thinking it's in too many different outlets that they're not going to get their points across.
Sure. Yeah. So the way I can see this playing out is, first of all, like, this is nothing but beneficial.
Yeah.
To the consumer.
Yep.
Right. As long as they're getting more reveals, more things to look forward to, I think this is a win-win.
Yep.
I think it's interesting. I think the best move would be for it all to go through Summer Games Fest because Jeff Keighley is the head big games conference guy. And so I think he would be the good man. I want to kind of base my thinking off of what he did for the PlayStation reveal event next week.
Next week, yeah.
And so that, like, Summer's Game Fest tweeted out, like, oh, like, can't wait for this. And I guess either they're going to host it or in some way be connected to that. And so I think whatever stance they take for that event, I think they should kind of model that for these others.
Right.
I also think this is very, this is kind of like a rough draft, if you will, for this sort of content output because this is a very new thing and this is the replacement of E3. And so I think, like, they have time to kind of figure out how they want to do things individually as well as do things collectively and have, like, big conferences and a lot of people tuning in. And so, like, some people, like, I'm just going to jump straight into IGN's. So they shared details for their Summer of Gaming 2020, and this is Joe Screbbles from IGN. And so they're also doing a whole month. So doing throughout the whole month of June. Also, one thing to notice is I don't think any of these dates are conflicting. So I am glad that it seems like they don't. I could be totally wrong, but, like, from what I've seen, it is nice for the consumer because they don't have to pick and choose between different outlets of what to believe. So in addition to this IGN Summer of Gaming 2020, they're doing an IGN Expo, which is like their token little conference themselves.
Yeah.
And it's their own showcase for exclusive announcements and reveals from developers. And that's June 5th, 8th, and 9th. They're partnering with CD Projekt Red, Blizzard, and Xbox. So
it's so weird to me, dude, because Xbox already has a thing with Summer Games Fest. Like, did IGN just sign him a deal to get out of that, to, like, go into their thing?
I don't know. Maybe Xbox just wants more.
I think Summer Games
This
Fest is big.
This is what I'm thinking. So remember, you'd watch an Xbox conference, right?
Yeah.
And I think they would have their stage conference or whatever. It would either be Xbox, like, putting it on themselves, or it'd be through Summer Games Fest, right? And then you would get a lot of exclusive interviews and gameplays and first look things that you would get normally from a news outlet like IGN.
You're making a good point.
I think this is taking the place of that, where instead of having, like, people, like, videos of people at booths, like, interviewing developers, or having, like, you know, the couches where they would sit down and they talk about the game, where there's someone playing it in the background. Instead of having that, they're saying, all right, we're just going to take all these little things that we would normally do, like, traditional journalism for, and we're just taking that and building an event around that. And they have their own pre-show. I think it's funny that they have pre-show coverage for their own events. It's like, what are you not? Anyway.
No, James, so this is a good point. I didn't even think about that, because really IGN and GameSpot and those media coverage gaming sites, this time of year is their biggest time of year because of these events, and everybody in their company says that on podcasts or whatever. It's not unknown information. So by everything going online, they're losing so much business. like through these events. So you're totally right. You're totally right. This is a way that they can make up for that and do their own thing. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
that's good.
But it'll be interesting to see how different. Like, these are two big companies, big journalism companies doing this. So it'll be interesting to see how some of these smaller journalists are going to try and get by and try and
right.
Like, will this what's the word I'm looking for? Will this liquidize?
I mean, make cash money?
Will this like separate and like weed out the smaller journalists who are not able to host be a part of these events in which
I think
they do get to like.
The thing is, for the smaller ones, they're already banking on the big news stories that IGN and GameSpot and all these things break. So those journalists are going to write about this stuff regardless.
But there are journalists who are not affiliated with IGN or GameSpot who do normally would get passes to E3 and are able to do their own journalism there. Yep. So I'm a little worried about the little guy here.
They're taking the hit.
Yeah.
It's true. All the little guys are taking the hit in this corona, dude. That's how it goes.
Dang.
It sucks. Big suck.
However, they're also, IGN, also hosting charity events in support of the World Health Organization's COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund. And they're doing a lot of fun things too, two of which they talked about were IGN's Celebrity Island Tours and Animal Crossing New Horizons, of which Gary Whitta's going to be on there. Of
course.
Writer for Rogue One, who's been doing Animal Crossing New Horizon, or Animal Talking, which is a talk show on Animal Crossing in which he's had multiple celebrities on there. They're going to do a speedrunner countdown challenge, which sounds to me just like... Sounds to me like they're just going to do a bunch of speed runs, and there's more to come from that. Vinny, any closing thoughts?
Not on that. I think I closed it up right before that. That's all I got.
Cool. I'm excited just because this means we're getting a lot of news, a lot of things to look forward to.
I can't complain too much.
Speaking of things to look forward to, Vin.
Speaking of things to look forward to, we've been talking about this actually like a while ago. We talked about some Metroid Prime Trilogy leaks, and today we have another big leak that could point to even a release date for the Metroid Prime Trilogy.
Wow, incredible.
Yes. This comes from Emily Guerra at VG247, Video Games 247.
Probably stands for video games.
Yes, sir. The long-rumored port of Metroid Prime Trilogy could be coming to Nintendo Switch next month, according to a listing from Swedish retailer Inet. The online retailer, which is, in fact, the original source of that years-old rumor after the trilogy and its intended platform were revealed on its website back in 2018, has updated the game page with a release date. The Metroid Prime Trilogy will reportedly release for Switch on June 19th, but obviously take that with a grain of salt. The retailer hasn't been the only source of the rumored Switch trilogy. Last year, Nintendo insider, Kinzel, who has previously proven to be a reliable source of Nintendo info, suggested the company was gearing up to reveal Metroid Prime Trilogy during its February Nintendo Direct. Alas, it did not come to pass. U.S. retailer Best Buy also got tongues wagging when it posted a retail listing for the trilogy in its staff-only database. So, from multiple sources, we have a picture, too, of the retailing. It shows cover art and everything.
What?
Yeah, it shows the cover art, full description. So, like...
Wow.
Wow. It looks like this is coming. It's not just word of mouth, it's like listings and everything too. I'm sure Amazon is going to be the next person to F up and put it on their website, so... Because they all...
I'm ecstatic, Vin. I love Metroid.
Okay, big gamer sin, I've never played Metroid before.
Oh, Vin, it's so good.
Well, I've played Metroid, like, on the Switch, the NES port of it. I played, like, halfway through that. But other than that, I've never played it, besides playing my girl, Samus, in Smash.
It's got so much gameplay variety. It's got exploration. It's got puzzles of trying to figure out how to get through certain rooms. It's very, like, segmented levels where, like, oh, you're in this room and you're trying to get to this room, so you got to go back through this room and use the thing that you just got to, like, figure out how to do the puzzle and get the the room adjacent to the previous one.
Okay.
And as you progress, you get like there's different suits that you have for Samus for like different situations, and you have like different types of like the cannon. You get like different types of like ammo for like different types of enemies and like things to use. It's very cool. I think it is very ahead of its time.
This would be a very good Switch port then. It sounds like it's gonna be right on for what it does.
I hope it's a great Switch port. I'm gonna buy it. Sweet. I am gonna buy it because I only played the first one. I didn't play 2 or Other M or any of the.
Yeah.
I'd
be interested in checking it out too, for sure.
Wow.
Wow.
All right. Any closing thoughts?
That's all I got.
All right. So the Dishonored series, a series that we haven't seen since Dishonored 2, has not been put on hold, says Arcane. This is an article that comes from IGN Middle East from Mufadal Fakhruddin. Probably butchered that. Yeah. So in an interview with IGN Middle East to celebrate the studio's 20th year anniversary, which was yesterday, Arcane Studios co-creative director Dinga Bakaba said that the rumors of putting the Dishonored series on hold because we haven't seen any of it for a few years. Putting the Dishonored series on hold was misquoted, and no such decision has been taken so far. So Bakava did say that they wouldn't be revisiting the Kaldwin storyline again, the storyline that both Dishonored 1 and 2 followed, and so they said that story is complete. But that doesn't mean it's the end for the franchise or for the world that Dishonored takes place in. I personally really enjoy the world that they set up for Dishonored. It's cool. It's like steampunky, kind of. There's like magic and sort of like more like mystical sort of things going on.
So I haven't
did you play Dishonored 1 and 2?
I haven't played all the way through. Like I had a buddy that had it, and when we went to his house, we played like 1 sometimes, like played levels, or just kind of went around. But from what I played, it was fun.
Cool. I was a big fan of the first game.
Yeah.
I love the stealth kind of like choose your approach, choose the way you want to play, sort of games, and I think Dishonored did that really well.
I remember being kind of shocked.
Go ahead.
That you could like kill a person, and then carry him over the shoulder, and then like throw him and like stuff like that. Like I had never seen that in a game when it came out. It's not even really that big of a like mechanic in the game or anything. It was just like, bro, we can kill this guy and like throw him over the balcony or something. Like it was the stupidest crap, but like I was like, this is cool. I don't know.
I think at that like this game put in a lot of those like smaller things like body relocation. Like I know a big thing was like hiding bodies, so you could like open up a dresser and like put a body in it. Or another thing was like you had a power where you could like summon rats, and so you could have rats like eat dead bodies. So that it would get rid of the evidence, stuff like that. I remember it was a very dynamic stealth game.
There's a lot of options.
So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I'd be interesting to see a next gen Dishonored. I'd be very interested in that.
I would love to replay them on next gen, especially I never played the second one.
Okay.
And I would have really liked to, especially because Emily's moveset looked really cool. Going on, Bakava said, Arcane is not a studio of one game, and I don't think it ever will be. Arcane has other plans for other types of creative visions they want to do, one of which is Deathloop, which we saw a few years ago in just a cinematic trailer. I mentioned it a few weeks ago on the podcast as just games that have been announced but we haven't seen anything for. Deathloop is an action-adventure game that follows 2 assassins in a mind-bending story with meticulously designed levels, and a release date for the game is yet to be revealed. Any thoughts?
Cool. I mean,
cool.
It sounds like they're working on not only Deathloop, but they're hinting at another Dishonored, at the very least.
Sure.
So,
sure.
Yeah, I'd be very interested in playing a new Dishonored.
Maybe like a Corvo origin story. Well, I mean, they said they were done with that storyline.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe a one-off. Maybe. I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know the universe well enough to make a decision.
We have PlayStation Plus June games announced as our final story of the day. Call of Duty World War II confirmed, and at the beginning of the week, that was the only game confirmed. There were rumors circulating that Battlefront 2 was the other free game, and there were screenshots of ads and stuff. And then just 2 days after those rumors, it is confirmed Battlefront 2 is the second game in the lineup, which, James, this is awesome. There's going to be a whole new load of players that just thought this game was trash at the beginning that are going to actually realize, like, okay, this game is good now. It's not just like, okay, it's good now.
Now we won't have like level 100 like Vaders and Obi-Wan Kenobis running around all the time.
I won't be absolutely sweated in Battlefront anymore. There will be like...
It's true.
I'm pretty like... I'm not the worst ranked in the game or anything. I'm like a little leveled up, but not enough that I get shit on by the high level players. So this will be perfect for me if I re-download this. Can't wait.
I can't wait either. It's gonna be great.
Yes, it is.
I'm sitting right there with you where I never... Here's my thing about Battlefront, Ben. I like to play the game and I like to play the units. Like, playing the heroes is fun.
Yeah.
But, like, the highlight for me is playing, like, the... Well, rest in peace, ARC Trooper, because he got nerfed into the ground. Double F. Like, the ARC Trooper or the Commando or, like, the B2 Super Battle Droids or, like, those kind of beefed up units that, like... I think they keep me a little more, like, engaged consistently. Yeah. Rather than, like being Obi-Wan is cool.
Sure.
But, like, I feel like I get targeted too much for me to actually, like, have as much fun as I would a normal unit.
Hey,
anyway, I'm excited to have
newbies.
Game,
James. You get to choose. They give you a lot of options in that game.
And a lot of them are viable, too.
Yep.
Got to give it to them for that.
You know what it's time for.
RFS, baby.
Fun stuff. Here we are. We got a small 4 items on random fun stuff today. Let's just bang them out, every other. First one, No Man's Sky coming to Xbox Game Pass in June to PC and Xbox too. Woo! James, you screamed so loud that it didn't even register in the mic for me. I'm sure we'll hear it in your audio.
Oh, baby. Yep. I'm so excited because, Vin, I've been... telling you that I want to play this game so damn bad, and now that I subscribe to Game Pass for my PC for that $1 a month, how could I not?
Exactly.
I finally get to play this, and not only do I get to play, but I get to play with my PC specs, and I get to ball out.
James, we can play No Man's Sky together on the PC.
Finally, Vin.
Oh my gosh.
Finally. It has been a long time coming. I'm excited. Vin is excited. You should be excited too if you're an Xbox or a PC owner. Borderlands Handsome Collection is also free on the Epic Games Store. Other games that you should definitely play if you haven't already. That's Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-sequel.
Yep.
All 3 good games.
Yeah. Fast and Furious Crossroads had a gameplay trailer out. And if you check it out, it looks like a PS2 port with QuickTime events and I quote, gadgets. You can use gadgets to take down the enemy. Wow. It actually looks pretty arcadey, and if it was $5, I'd buy it, but it's going to be $60, and I'm definitely going to avoid it at all costs.
You think it's going to be $60?
100%. Are you kidding me? Bro, they got Vin Diesel in there. It's going to be $60. No question about it.
Wow.
They got to hire that voice cast, bro. That's expensive. That's a pretty penny. That's going to be at least a $60 game. Vin Diesel's like, make it 80. I need a 30% cut of this game. God, that's all on Crossroads.
Oh my god, I'm not gonna play this game at all.
No.
BlizzCon 2020 is canceled. Blizzard confirms that the event won't happen this year. It was expected. No,
F.
Everyone saw this coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, still an F.
I didn't want to just beat a dead horse again with the coronavirus canceling events, so there it is in RFS.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how they implement their own like announcements or whatever into the sphere of Summer Games Fest or their own thing.
Yeah, now they have Summer Games Fest. They have Summer of
Games. Oh, IGN is partnering with Blizzard.
Oh, that's right. We did read it. We did talk about that.
So
there it is.
I assume they'll at least announce something through IGN.
Yep.
And there it is.
There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on episode 17 of Strictly Casual. Linked below will be our Discord, Twitches, anything to hang out and get in contact with us. Next week we will 100% be covering the PS5 event. So be ready for that. That'll be super exciting. That's all I got for you today.
That's all we got.
That's all we got. Any final thoughts?
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Sweet. Bet.
You guys are great. Yeah.
Peace out, everybody. Peace out.
Peace out. Boo!